Hello everybody, this is Michelle and I am doing another book review today. This is not a good one. Not everything can be fantastic, so I thought that I should just kind of put out my 2 cents and be honest about something. And actually, if anybody wants to make a case for this book, you can try, but I don't know. I'm going to talk a lot about this because I tried to make this video a minute ago, but my camera ran out of memory, so I had to fix some things. But the book is The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty by Anne Rice, writing as A.N. Roquelaure. I don't know how to say that, I'm sorry. And it says, if you loved 50 Shades of Grey, then you'll love this Sleeping Beauty trilogy. So it's a trilogy, too. I'm not going to read the trilogy. First, I'll say why I picked it up. The 50 Shades of Grey phase was going on, and I thought, first of all, let me check out 50 Shades of Grey. Let me see if that's good. And I bought it from a Kindle, and I had to call Amazon and actually return an electronic book, which was very difficult, but I did because I wanted my money back. I felt like it was a 2-year-old writing porn, but I still had this taste in my mouth that I wanted to read something erotic and different. So I heard about, well, I'd seen it before, but I didn't know what it was, but I read about Anne Rice's Sleeping Beauty trilogy and how that was erotica too. So I thought, okay, I love Anne Rice, and I do. I have all of her books, well, not all of them, but I have the entire Vampire Chronicles and then a few of the like books about the other vampires afterwards, and I have like The Witching Hour. I have tons of her books, and I love them. She writes so well, and I remember reading like The Vampire Lestat especially, and some of those other books, and some of the sexual tension between some of the characters and the feelings that these characters had. I just felt like a lot of it was really, it was nice. I liked reading it, and I was like, man, you go, girl. So I felt like her erotica has got to be good. So I picked up The Claiming of Sleeping Beauty, and I went all over finding this. I asked booksellers, hey, do you have this? And they didn't have it, and I finally found it somewhere on a bookend somewhere, and I bought it full price, which was still way too much for this book. This book was paperback, and it's $16. And I'm sorry, this book is only $9.99. Big difference. This is amazing, this is not, and this is like almost twice the price. So, the back of this book says, an erotic novel of discipline, love, and surrender from master storyteller Anne Rice. In the traditional folktale of Sleeping Beauty, that the spell cast upon the lovely young princess can only be broken by the kiss of a prince. However, in the world of Anne Rice, this legendary curse is broken not with a kiss, but with a sexual initiation. The prince's reward for ending the 100 years of enchantment is Beauty's complete and total enslavement to him. Beauty awakes to a world of seduction, desire, and love. That's my cat. I hope my cat does not knock anything over. Go over there. Okay, good. So, where do I begin? The beginning, a very good place to start. Within the first page, the prince is already thrusting his sex into Beauty. He goes up there, he sees her, he plays with her nipples, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's having sex with her. But she's still asleep. And I believe she's like 15 years old. So, I think that that's wrong on so many levels. Let me also say, I don't have a problem with BDSM. If people want to do that, whatever. I think that sex is great as long as people are consenting to different things. And especially in BDSM and slave sexual relationships, there is a mutual agreement among the two. Someone agrees to be the slave, someone agrees to be the dom, and all of a sudden, they have a sexual relationship. They have, ideally, they have words set in place and situations set in place where if anybody is feeling threatened or uncomfortable at any time, or that they're pushed beyond their limit, that they're supposed to stop, and that is good. I like that. Now, this relationship is not that kind of relationship. This is rape. The very first thing that happens in this book is rape. And even though I understand that this is a fairy tale and it's set in like some kind of a medieval time period and girls at 15 were having sex back then, not like they don't now, but it's a 15-year-old girl, basically, who's been asleep for 100 years, and that doesn't mean anything to me. She's still 15, and she's being raped by a prince who is incredibly entitled, by the way, and then all of a sudden, she feels like, oh my gosh, thanks for waking me up from my 100 years of sleep. I owe you. And he basically says, you're my slave, and she goes, okay, which I think is ditzy and dumb. And I think that even though she's 15 and she just woke up from 100 years of sleep, you should probably think about something like that, because he literally has sex with her, takes her downstairs in front of her entire family, who has also just woken up from the spell, and she's naked, and the prince basically says, hey, king, you're so very welcome for me waking you up. By the way, here's your daughter. I know she's naked, and I just had sex with her, but I'm going to take her back to my palace because she's mine. I deserve her. And the king is like, please go forth. You know? Take my daughter. Sorry, that reminded me of Eddie Izzard. You know, for the debt of honor of General Lafayette. Anyway, moving on. So the prince takes Beauty, and he is showing her off to everybody on his way back to his kingdom, and she's naked, and people are watching her, and she's trying to cover herself because she's incredibly embarrassed, and I'm sure she is groggy, and he's like, no, don't cover yourself, darling, you're mine, and I want you to feel comfortable doing this, and blah, 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 and he's making her uncomfortable, he's making her show herself off and let other people touch her, and she's very self-conscious and upset about this, you can tell, even though she's doing it in a very demure, innocent way. It's not in like a coy, like, ooh, okay, I don't want to show myself, oh, but I really do. It's not like that. She's really new to everything that's going on, and she's scared. And, and the prince just keeps taking advantage of her, and she doesn't like it quite at first. And right as I stopped reading, which was about page 50-ish, somewhere around in there, she was kind of sort of thinking, you know, oh my gosh, he's going to have sex with me. I don't want it, but oh my God, I really want it. And then I'm like, no, you don't want it. Some people say, you know, you really should have stuck with the book because it gets so much better and she actually really wants it or something like that. And I'm like, the reason that anybody would succumb to a situation like this is Stockholm Syndrome. If you are put into a position where you know no one else and someone is forcing you to do certain things and you really don't have a way to escape, you're going to do what they say. You're going to become friends with them. You're going to do what they want. You're going to start to become accustomed to the life they're forcing you to live. And that's what's happening with Beauty. And it's not love and surrender. It's Stockholm Syndrome. And discipline, it's not even like that, you obey me, yeah, you'd like that, don't you? It's not even like that. It's not even discipline, it's slavery, and that's a hugely different thing. So, this book, I was so shocked, because not only is the subject matter just awful, you know, if he would have woke Beauty up and she would have been like, wow, I kind of like that. What was that? Can I come with you? Show me the world, Prince. Then I would have been like, all right, this is kind of sexy. But the fact that she really doesn't want any of this is very concerning to me. And I feel like this book it's showing a very unhealthy sexual relationship. And I think it's very important for people to understand how to have positive sexual relationships, even if they're kinky as hell, and they want to do this slave BDSM thing. That's fine, but you need to do it in a healthy way, and that healthy way needs to be consent, and there needs to be people's safety needs to be taken into account. Now, I'm not sure what happens in the rest of this book. I did do the, ooh, sexy book, let me read some scenes kind of a thing, and I saw that there were a couple other things going down, and I hate the way the prince talks to her. Like here, this is way past where I read, but she's like, "Oh, please," she whispered, turning her head from side to side, her eyes stinging, and I'm not sure why they're stinging. And he's like, "Now, Beauty, remember what I told you." And I hate how he's always doing that, like condescending and instructing her, not in a sexy time kind of way, but in a I know you're really dumb, so I'm going to teach you the ways of the world, even though this really isn't how the world works kind of a way. Just like a serial killer would do to somebody he was keeping in his basement. I'm sorry. I really do love Anne Rice, and I'm not going to stop reading Anne Rice, but I'm not going to continue reading the Sleeping Beauty trilogy. I just can't. And I'm not, like, swearing off erotica, because I think erotica could be great, but please tell me it gets better than this. I mean, he's always thrusting his sex into her. I mean, it's not even like on 10 Things I Hate About You, his quivering bratwurst or anything. I mean, she's not really being creative with the words that she's using, and quivering bratwurst wouldn't work in this. It works in 10 Things I Hate About You, but that's all she ever says is his sex and her sex. And I feel like there's gotta be something else she can use or say. And there's too much quivering. I mean, we have to come up with different words and trembling. Anyway, I don't know how you could make an entire trilogy out of this. I really don't. And the last book is called The Release, I think, of Sleeping Beauty. This is the claiming of, that it's the release of. And I just can only imagine what that is. It's like, well, now that you've been my sex slave forever, and now that you're sexually, screwed up for the rest of your life, you can go. I mean, that's what I imagine. It just sounds awful. And then in the middle, the book is called Beauty's Punishment. So I can only imagine how that's going. And it's not like, you've been a naughty girl. I'm sure it's not like that. I'm sure it's more like, bitch, what the hell were you doing? I'm punishing you, and we're going to bring all these other people in and punish you too. If you have anything good to say about this trilogy, I'm not trying to argue with anybody. I guess I have firm opinions. So please tell me if you think that this is really worth my time, and I'll give it another shot if I have enough people convincing me that it's worth it. But everybody I know has given this 1 star, and I gave it 1 star. The only reason I even gave it a star was because if I didn't give it 1 star, then people would think, oh, she just forgot to rate that book. And I want people to know that I do not like this book. So, yeah, 1 star. I wouldn't even give it any stars if that was an actual rating. But I wouldn't recommend this to anybody. It's not hot, it's not sexy, it's not healthy, it's degrading towards women, and I really wish I had something positive to say. I really do. Because like I said, I love Anne Rice. But I guess I just don't like A.N. Roquelaure. I don't know. I guess I don't like that. Just like you might like Garth Brooks, but you don't like Chris Gaines. I don't know. So, yeah. I could probably talk about this a lot more, because then we have to get into women's rights and blah, 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 and feminism and maybe it's because I work for an organization and we respond to, like, well, part of the organization, not my section, but they do sexual assault response, and this just reminds me of that kind of a situation, and it's not healthy, it's sad, it's upsetting, and maybe it's just part of me growing up and becoming an old, weird lady. But, hey, Felix. This is Felix. Hey, Felix. Maybe that's why I don't like this book. I don't know. I don't think I'm an old lady. So anyway, yeah, sorry this was a sad review. I promise you I have better ones, but I just thought I would say something about one of the 1-star books that I've seen. So if you want this book, maybe I'll do a giveaway. If enough people say, hey, sure, I want that book, maybe I'll do a giveaway. But if not, it's going to my half-price bookstore. Yeah. So on that note, thank you guys very much for watching. I will be posting better reviews here in a second, so I will talk to you later. Thank you guys.